This is your Town Council debrief for the January the 18th, 2022 meeting. Debrief will take you through the key issues being discussed by Council and provide a bit more information on what they mean for the town. After taking a break for the holidays, Neepawa Town Council met for the first time in the new year and discussed updates to several ongoing projects, as well as heard a couple of year-end reports from 2021. We kick off with a delegation from Arts Forward to talk about why funding their organization is important for the community. Now, community grant program applications are due annually on the 31st of December, and Council receives applications from dozens of local organizations, institutions, and clubs. Organizations are not required to make an in-person presentation to Council, and in fact, most do not. In order to appear before Council, an individual or group must make arrangements with the town office in advance to get on the agenda, whether it's to make a presentation such as this one or to speak to other issues that are before Council. Community grants, such as the one Arts Forward has applied for, are awarded following the town's budgeting process in the spring.
All right, here we are again, about a year later. In case you forgot who I am, the guy behind the mask, I am Rod Nordstrom, and I am currently the president of Arts Forward. I've been the president for a number of years now, but that's, if I took the mask off, you'd see one of those faces, right? So just a reminder, you guys have seen this before, it's not a new council, and reminder that we're a small, and I emphasize, affordable community center. Right now with the 50% physical distancing capacity, we can fit 50 people because our capacity is 100 people. So we are an affordable gathering place that fits a growing need that our community needs, and we can accommodate it. Because we exist because if you want this, then you gotta have this. If you want the arts, it's gotta start somewhere. And that's what we are. We're a grassroots arts kind of facility, as well as many, many other things. We're an art gallery, of course, that's in red there. That's, people know us by art gallery, but that's all of the other things we are and we do. I'm sure we've missed a few as well. So we're not a single purpose kind of facility. However, the reality, I guess, in 2021 for the second year in a row is we've been frustrated by closures and cancellations. I mean, through no fault of anybody except this darn weird-looking pandemic, coronavirus. However, the good news is, since September to about mid-December, we're back to normal. So we had a really terrific quarter until about a week or so before Christmas, and then things, of course, with the latest Omicron, things dropped off, and we're really hoping to get back to normal at the end of this month. And we're positive that we're optimistic that we can, actually. But so it's been a year of ups and downs, as I'm sure every organization has had their ups and downs, just by closures and the pandemic. Our best asset remains to be our people. We have one shiny new paid employee right here. You probably know Yvonne. You've probably met her. Yvonne Sicily is started in September, taking over for Rainey behind the camera there when she switched jobs. So one shiny new paid employee. Now that's different from what we've had in the past, because in the past we've had 1.5 employees. We've got one, and she's doing it all right now. We have a volunteer board, and of course we have a core of volunteers, and so people make the place run. We've been working on this for years now, and our fiscal house is looking pretty good. We're getting it in order. We've actually got a balanced budget for the upcoming year, 2021-22, with our income and expenses pretty much. Of course, budgets are, as you well know, are always approximations. And so, for example, last year in 2021, we estimated our income to be about $70,000 and our expenses to be about $70,000. You can see that was not the case. Our income was greater than we anticipated, and our expenses were less than we anticipated. And so last year, you can see that we had $52,000, well, almost $53,000 to the positive, surplus, I suppose, not surplusing us, but we had a good year, as many nonprofit organizations like the Yellowhead and many organizations like that had a very good year. So COVID hurt us in terms of participation and people in the building and just sort of, being able to hold classes and things like that. But with the funding we could apply for, it actually helped us somewhat financially. Now, 52,000 is, I will explain a little bit of that a little bit later. However, one of the things is we have about $11,000 that was supposed to be in last year's budget, we were supposed to pay for in last year's budget. That was some repairs. The work didn't get done until this year's budget. So, we've got a balanced budget this year. However, there's $11,000 that we were supposed to pay last year that will have to end up coming out of this year's budget. But that explains part of that $53,000 surplus. In reality, take $11,000 off that because that'll have to be used for things that were done this year. Now, notice that balanced budget is anticipating some sort of equal grant that we got from last year from the town of Neepawa. Okay? So even though our rental income was down, donations were down, sponsorships, all of those things that we normally make us money were down, COVID relief really helped us. We received approximately $26,000 worth of COVID relief funding. So that combined with a reduction in salaries due to layoffs and or reduced hours last year. So we went from 1.5 employees to 1 employee to part-time to eventually laying off. And so that reduction really accounts for that once-in-a-lifetime kind of surplus. In 2022, we have moved, this fiscal year, we have moved from 1.5 employees to 1 employee. And we're working with that, so again, reducing our costs in that way, and we'll try that out to see how that works. In addition, we do have a sponsorship program for businesses. We've got different levels there for business to take part. We didn't get that much uptake last year. It was really hard to go out and ask for sponsorships when our doors were not open. But now that our doors are open again, you can bet we'll be looking for those kinds of things again. We also have a patrons program for individuals, and even though we really weren't open much last year, many people still participated in the patrons program. We still got dollars from that, and we certainly have, since September, got a lot of dollars from that again. So those are other ways that we're looking to balance our budget and relying on to balance our budget. We've done some recent improvements. If you've been in there, you've seen the hardwood flooring in the main gallery in North Room is refinished. That is very noticeable. We've been painting the walls and doing everything we can to make that room look good. And it never looked good until we finally refinished the floors. The floors just made it look bad before, so it looks great now. We've also, another major project that cost a few bucks here was installed the siding on a storage shed. So those are the two things that I mentioned, $11,000 that we were hoping would come out of last year's budget. Well, people didn't get it done until this year's budget, so that has to be paid this year. We've also reorganized the office space and created a boutique again. We used to have a boutique in there. We've got that back again to promote local artists. So if you've been in there, you may have noticed that. What next? Other things we need to do in the building. We are in the process right now of painting the foyer in the main entrance. We need to replace the front doors. They don't close properly. They don't secure properly. Don't tell anybody this. We need to replace the flooring in the main entrance, the boutique in the office. It's been there since probably since the building was erected a long time ago, but certainly it's outlived its usefulness right now. There's also, we need to replace flooring in the basement hallway, the back stairs. We need to paint and carpet studios 1, 4, and 5. Make improvements to our sound system and paint the kitchen. So you can see there's lots of things we need to do. Those are the things that we can see. There's things that, of course, emergencies that come up all the time. For example, if our furnace stopped tomorrow, wow, that would be scary and expensive. So, we don't count things like that in the what next. If our roof started leaking, that's not counted in the what next. So, there's those potential kinds of things as well. And we're working to pay off the mortgage. If things go as predicted and planned, by the end of next year, by this time next year, we should have our mortgage paid off. So, yeah, that's what we're busy doing, trying to be fiscally responsible. Our funding, this is last year's funding, just to give you a little bit of a breakdown, for that $93,000 came in. You can see a big chunk, $25,831 was COVID relief. We got our normal money from the province, which is about almost 32,000. And our earned revenues were way, way down. We were barely open last year, so that explains that. That's why it's only 12.5% of our income last year. It's normally much higher than that. Bit of a breakdown there. So, Arts Forward. Now, how does that fit into the town's objectives? Let's take a look. We're looking at a grant, the community grant programs. This is your policy here, and in red, in the top paragraph, we're part of an organization, I guess a network of organizations that contribute to wellness and vitality in our community. We're also an organization that provides valuable community service, supporting the council's objectives, strategic plan, and vision. In particular, the objectives of the grant program, the two that are in red there, enhance the quality of life for residents, businesses, and visitors. We believe that our facility does those kinds of things. It is one of the many facilities in town that enhances quality of life, and also provides a service that town would otherwise deliver given adequate resources. That's an assumption that we are making. The second one. So, some of the services the town might deliver. I think you have a budget line called Recreation, Arts, and Culture. And recreation is free time that people spend away from everyday responsibilities. So, not work and not domestic tasks. So it includes things like sport, playing music, dancing, yoga, visiting museums, etc. on this list. And Arts Forward fulfills a recreational need as well as an arts and culture need. So we think we fit in really well with the town's objectives. And the goals here, one of your goals and mission is to support a quality lifestyle. And you've seen this next slide before. I won't spend too much time on it, but I've talked about how the quality lifestyle in a community involves essential and non-essential services, and artistic and cultural activities are part of that non-essential services. They are what make a community a great place to live in, all those non-essential services. And we're only a piece of it. Obviously, restaurants and those shopping opportunities, those kinds of things are important as well. But events as well, like Louis Rail Day, National Truth and Reconciliation, things like that. Those are all part of quality lifestyle. So we think Arts Forward supports a quality lifestyle. Sport is in a community only serves a small part of the population. Arts Forward programming, cultural events serve, we believe, a wider population. We fulfill the need for arts, cultural experiences. We have inclusive programming in all of these things like health and wellness, arts, culture, music, theater. Our summer theater program, should we be able to run it again for kids, it's a great program. So we offer a lot of different recreation, arts, and culture activities. And the grant we're specifically applying for is the Direct Rewards Grant, and some of the criteria there, delivery of services on behalf of the town. We think that's what we're doing, and it's a community operating grant, and so that's the category that we fit into. Now, we have a number of partners, including, I guess, the town of Neepawa, but these are, we're not living in isolation. We don't exist in isolation over there. And we've had a lot of partners in the past, and this year we've increased our number of partners. And so you can see that there's quite a list here, including a number of local businesses. Where I was working to expand the number of businesses that get involved. So these are people, or organizations or businesses that we've partnered with in the past, and hopefully in the future. So how would a town grant assist Arts Forward? Well, certainly assist us with their annual programming. Try and keep costs affordable for our users. Help us with cultural events like, for example, National Truth and Reconciliation Day or United Nations Day. Those are some of the things we have planned for this year. Our Days Off School program. So when the schools are closed for in-services or whatever, we have programming in those days for students. So parents have a place to drop off their kids and have them learn a new skill. For example, Kids in the Kitchen is one example of something like that, where we've got them cooking efforts forward. We also need additional chairs, and tables. The main entrance doors are an issue, flooring, and obviously with whatever grant we get, we're not going to be able to do all of these things. These are wish list kinds of things, unless you really surprise us. These are wish lists, and we can do some of these things, but we're just, we have to prioritize all, obviously. So just a bit of the funding history. Last couple of years was $15,000. We also received a property tax exemption from the town of Neepawa, so that's just a quick little history there. You can see in 2010 we're receiving about $12,000. Things changed along the way. We're getting a little bit more now, so that's great. And of course, our eggs are not in one basket. They're in many baskets. We don't just look at one grant. These are all the things that we're looking at for grants. And we've recently received the Rob Smith & Son $2,500 grant. So those kinds of things are included. So these are grants that we've either received or have applied for and hope to receive this year. So, I'm going to go quick this year. The big ask. So we are asking for a similar investment as last year, $15,000. That will allow us to balance our budget, subsidize our programming, purchase a few chairs, install some flooring, and maybe replace our front doors. We'll have to figure out our priorities once we have our money in place, but those are some of the things that we're looking at this year.
Yes, Finance Committee met on Monday the 17th. We have opened up the grant requests and have started that review process and started budget planning for 2022 into 2023. That's where we're at. Okay. Perfect.
Operations Manager Denise Sakay's report covers updates in several construction projects around town, but particularly talks about beginning the process of rebuilding Park Lake in the near future. One of the concerns addressed is regarding the delivery of materials to the area, because the direct route is through a residential area. A temporary change of speed limit is being considered to address the increased traffic of many heavy trucks through the hilly streets.
Regarding Park Lake, so we had 2 tenders that were issued out, invitational. So those were issued out to local contractors. One was for tree scrubbing as part of the dam reconstruction, and the other was for the riprap placement or supply, sorry. Both of those were awarded out. So Rob Smith & Son achieved both contracts, and we had, I think, 3 bids on each side. So it was good bids.
So I was at one of those meetings, so if I understood it correctly, next week they are starting about bringing.
There's some permitting issues right now.
Okay.
That we're going to slow things down. They're going to try to facilitate that and come around with some solutions. So at best case, next week, but we're not too sure if those issues have all been resolved yet.
So maybe could you explain how it's going to work? Say it's next week or the week after, how that would work? Because they're going to go down Brown Avenue.
Yes, so we're going to see trucking Monday to Friday coming in, and it'll be a. You know how many trucks a day, but.
We were thinking maybe 35.
Yeah.
6 loads, 6 trucks. Yeah.
So it's not going to be too bad during working hours kind of deal. So anyone that's away shouldn't even really notice it. They'll build a down ramp and they'll drive into the basin and stockpile.
Okay, and they were talking maybe 4 to 6 weeks, right? 5 days a week.
Yeah, so we'll see how they're scheduling. They might ramp it up. They might work a few extra hours. I think once they start rolling and see how it's moving, they'll decide from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great news. It's exciting news. I just wanted the public to be aware that those trucks will be rolling down there, so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. My only concern I have with trucks on Brown is enforcing of speed limit. We know heavy trucks rolling down that hill. Is there anything we can do to ensure that we're not going to see increased truck speeds in there? Like, I know 50 kilometers is our speed limit, but I'm really nervous of that. Considering there's no sidewalks on Brown, with trucks rolling down that street. I want that material there to get Park Lake repaired, but we also have to hold those drivers accountable now that they are running through a residential area. And I would actually like to see 30 kilometers posted on them when they are rolling through that neighborhood with trucks.
That's something we can discuss with the contractor and go over that and ensure it hits all their safety meetings.
Because that is a huge concern. I know as a person in that area, there is a ton of walkers on that hill, and it is blind, and especially even those vehicles coming around that corner onto Brown by the water treatment plant, it is narrow, and I've seen a lot of near misses there already. So big trucks rolling at any kind of speed, it is a bit of a concern. But like I said, I know every resident on that street also wants to see Park Lake back, so I mean, we're prepared to work with that, but it's, the safety concern is real in that neighborhood.
No, it's a good comment. Okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you, Denise.
EDO Marilyn Crew presents her year-end report, which encompasses several aspects of economic development, including new and expanded businesses, housing developments, the storefront improvement program, and various aspects of local tourism. One thing she touches on briefly is the possibility of a local nursing program being delivered through Assiniboine Community College. The town has applied to the RHA to have the program delivered here in the past and been rejected. But with the announcement of the new hospital in the area and the province's recent announcement of trying to remove barriers to accrediting nurses, we may be an appealing location this time around.
Thank you. So this is my 2021 year-end report. It's always fun to give it when there's a lot of positive news in here. So over the course of 2021, Neepawa saw 8 new business starts, 2 business transitions, and 2 business expansions. Certainly development around housing was positive through the year. We've seen the opportunity to develop the 46 lots on CN land. Crescent Creek development is working away. The Cameron apartment broke ground in 21, and the Howden townhomes are all foundationed and going. So that certainly has shown huge impact on our housing, will show a huge impact on our housing stock over the next 2 years. The business development side was also good. We see the announcement of the hotel construction. Certainly the hospital announcement in December has a huge impact over the next 5 years and beyond for us around construction and trades, but also attraction of professional and medical sector staff, and ongoing pressure on our housing market as we look to staff up for a larger facility. Storefront Improvement Incentive Program finished its 3-year pilot with positive numbers, so that program will continue into 2022 and beyond. Rapid test kits were distributed to our local businesses. We saw 3,750 rapid test kits handed out to support our community COVID response. What's the big idea? Saw 5 entrepreneurs walk away with $9,150 in cash and prizes. It's been a very successful event. Neepawa Tourism benefited from grants through Travel Manitoba because of COVID. So that's been really positive for them. They've really had a chance to do some impactful work in the community because of those grants. Two new events were hosted in 21, the Riverbend Market and then the drive-in movie, and both of those saw Neepawa Tourism give back to community groups, so that was a positive impact in the community beyond the day of the event. The tourism banners were installed along Mountain this summer, and I think that just added a nice splash of color, and we will continue to work on more of those banners as we have grant money to do it. Working away with partnerships with the Chamber and the Yellowhead Investment Corridor. Another application was submitted through Prairie Mountain Health for an LPN program in town, so we're waiting to see whether we might get that nursing program held locally. And just looking to 22, it's a very positive horizon right now, and I just think that we continue to look at the community inclusively, making decisions, and it just brings new growth and supports the businesses we already have.
The Neepawa Farm and Leisure Lottery was a great success again this year, and now the council needs to begin the process again for next year, which includes guaranteeing these substantial prizes should ticket sales fall below a certain level. Councillor Murray Parrott talks about the lottery as well as the projects it funds, which include the local clinic and future projects that are on the horizon.
Okay, so as you read in the paper, the clinic raised $168,000 for the clinic committee through the Farm and Leisure Lottery. And to continue with that, there needs to be letters of support from all the partnering municipalities, which will be coming up later in our little program. If you wish to make donations for the regional hospital extras, $20 plus will receive receipts. Ongoing, we have NADCO, Neepawa Area Development Corporation, which we do lots of wonderful little things, include owning the clinic. We'll be sending out invoices for $2,500 to the cooperating municipalities to keep that program going as well. We also have a doctor recruitment fund that has been a great idea that the municipalities in the area also support, and it's one of the many reasons why we have so many nice doctors in Neepawa and such a great health facility. Oh yeah, so part of the rules for hosting the Farm and Leisure Lottery is that we need to guarantee the prize, so the surrounding municipalities who are involved in the clinic committee all give a letter of support saying they'll cover the prize should we not sell enough tickets. Now to date, that has never been the case. We've always sold enough tickets to pay for the prize and have money left over. And of course, as pre-announced before, $168,000. And if we have another successful year like that next year, the clinic will be paid for, and we can start working on the next project.
Well, that's pretty exciting.
Which might be, what the heck they call, urgent care center.
Okay. Thank you, Murray. Okay, we'll move forward with that resolution. Moved by Councilor Pickard. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Head. Whereas the Neepawa District Medical Committee, as represented by the municipal jurisdiction of Neepawa, Glenelg, Lansdowne, North Cypress, Langford, and Rosedale, will be filing an application to obtain a charitable gaming license as part of their annual fundraising efforts in 2022 to sustain and improve health services for the community and surrounding areas. Therefore, be it resolved that based on the contributions sharing agreement, the Council for the Town of Neepawa agreed to financially support the committee in their efforts to secure a license and raise money for the Neepawa and District Wellness Center in 2022. All in favor? Carried.
The need for accessibility upgrades at the County Courthouse building have been discussed previously, and they come up again in this meeting when Council votes on a 3-year update to the accessibility plan. Council also votes to implement a vaccination plan for the town, which is a process that all municipalities have been undergoing. Specifically, this is a plan for how to sustain operations and manage staff in the face of an outbreak. This is not any kind of vaccine mandate for the town.
Okay, Pauline, moving on to the vaccination plan that the government's asked us to look at.
So admittedly, we dragged our feet a little bit on this. I guess it's very hard to come out of the gate very strong, being the community that puts forward the first policy in the province of Manitoba. We all know that Brandon, Winnipeg, the bigger communities have put forward a policy on whether employees should or shouldn't be vaccinated. This policy doesn't suggest they should or they shouldn't. This policy basically stipulates how are we going to function, how are we going to operate, what are we going to do as a council and a staff here to make sure we can sustain operations should the pandemic roll through our employee base. So basically, it's a plan that says that you have to show us, and we're not collecting information from anybody. You can say you're not going to disclose, but we need to know are our employees vaccinated or not, because it also affects, if you have a pool that is or isn't, it affects how you deem their return to work or their length of time that they would be off, or trying to make sure everybody's safe. So basically, The policy will stipulate that should you not be vaccinated, if that's what we find out at the end of this, there will be a requirement for testing to make sure you are safe. We are following all public health orders, and it speaks to that in the policy. So we are doing nothing that the provinces hasn't already deemed as reasonable and already starting to be put in place by other municipalities. The importance of also doing this is the fact that trying to get some access to rapid testing kits as well is starting to get tied to whether you've actually put in place some policy and you're looking at trying to manage your staff and manage this pandemic within your organization as a jurisdiction of government. So I'm sure you've all read the policy. We think we've gone through it several times. Nobody will get laid off should they choose to vaccinate or not. That we're looking at how we manage our staff, how we do it safely is basically what our policy is.
Councilor Drive?
I think that was an important thing, this policy came forward.
Yeah.
We did see different suggestions come from different levels of government as to what requirements were in I think as a council, with the resources committee, we deemed that we did not think termination would be a part of a policy regarding vaccination, and that is not within this policy in any way, shape, or form. So,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think we made a good decision. We've encompassed everybody's beliefs in this, and as Colleen said, everybody's going to be safe, so that's what we...
there's a special consideration too when we start taking a look at, when you take the rural split versus the urban split, and you know, especially when we have, like, the example I can give to the case of would be a volunteer fire department. I don't know, you know, what it is there, but you know, those expectations, we've got to make sure we've got people there that can show up in the event of a fire or an emergency. So that's really important that we've addressed this.
Yeah. I think the bottom is we're truly not the judge here.
Yeah,
Really, it's not our business.
Yeah.
A person who reads somebody, that's the choice.
Absolutely.
Okay, good, thank you.
Other items covered at the meeting include a 5% increase to pool fees next year, the first increase since 2016, a small increase to the cost of dumping construction waste at a local landfill, the sale of a small piece of town land, and the appointment of the senior election official for the 2022 municipal elections in October. You can view end-to-end coverage of the Town Council meeting elsewhere in the NACTV schedule, including immediately following this program. We welcome your feedback on this program, and if you have questions or items that you'd like to see clarified or discussed, you can reach us at 204-476-2639 or by email at nactvnews@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.